In Tuzla, the power stations and refineries are virtually idle. The streets of what was a principal industrial city are half empty. Surrounded by Bosnian Serb artillery on three sides, the only safe road into Tuzla for aid, arms, and for any rapid reaction force would be this rough mountain track. And all around the frontline areas, UN observation posts, remote, vulnerable to Bosnian Serb shelling. If anybody needs the added protection of a rapid reaction force, it's the soldiers in their lonely wooden lookouts. Down in Tuzla's UN base, the sense of impending crisis. Here they say protecting the outlying lookout posts is a top priority. But the more they put tanks and armoured vehicles into the field to protect observation posts, the more the Bosnian Serbs attack.
They start shelling on us, and if we're close to civilian people, they hit the civilian also.
So the fact that it's a UN vehicle, a UN tank or armoured personnel carrier, that doesn't matter, they still attack?
They still shell at us, especially if it's an armed vehicle. Soft skin haven't been a problem, but armed vehicle, they're shelling.
Proof of that next door at the Norwegian field hospital, where they had two recent casualties this weekend. Dutch soldiers evacuated after their armoured car was hit by a tank grenade.
Very seriously injured, both soldiers.
What kind of injuries?
Head injuries, neck injuries, one serious arm injury, and so on.
Privately, senior UN officers will say this operation's untenable unless its mandate is changed. Ask the commanding officer for the Tuzla area what use a reaction force would be, and he talks about withdrawal.
If there should be a very critical situation when, for example, a withdrawal of the UN troops here would be necessary, of course it's needed someone to support the battalions.
But it's not just Bosnian Serbs creating problems, for the UN says Bosnian government troops are blocking its attempts to monitor the fighting. And the UN has long since lost the support of people in towns like Tuzla, where a Bosnian Serb artillery attack recently left 73 dead. Many lie in a new cemetery above the town. Most were teenagers or in their 20s, the worst such incident of the entire war. And where the shells struck the crowded streets, open anger from people who accuse the UN of failing to protect this so-called safe area.
You know what? They allow the Serbs to take UN tanks, uniforms to massacre them, tying them up and strangling them. Our people don't do that, but they should. Sometimes I want to get a grenade and throw it at the UN transporters, no matter what the consequences.
After this, they should have destroyed the Serbs' artillery, or give us the means to do it, and we will do it.
There are people in England who want justice, and this is injustice to kill like this. You've seen what happened in Tuzla. It's like this in every city. Where is the conscience of these people?
In his parlour, Tuzla's mayor says the Bosnian army will create its own safe area. The UN hasn't, he says, and his windows have the bullet holes to prove it.
So we've got to form troops to protect UN troops who were sent here to protect us. Well, thanks for that kind of protection. I think this is a nonsense.
Blocked by the Bosnian army, shelled by the Bosnian Serbs, into this the British-dominated Rapid Reaction Force is arriving. The weekend saw 105mm guns, carefully hidden in containers, going into their base in Gornji Vakuf. As fighting continues among the warring factions in the ruins of Bosnia and now threatens the UN, the British believe their reinforcements will give them the necessary threat of force to deliver humanitarian aid.
I would see them being used in support of convoys who are delivering humanitarian aid, but for some reason are either subjected to direct fire or indirect hindrance from other guns. They could then be used, as I say, to nullify that threat.
But the mandate's not changing as yet, and the UN can't open fire first, so they hope the Bosnian Serb army won't open fire on them if they know the Rapid Reaction Force is in the area.
In that situation, it's just conceivable the Bosnian Serbs would back down, but then they'd only do what they've done before, which is use every tactic, from sabotaging the roads to using women and children to block the routes of the convoys. And against tactics like that, all the military hardware in the world will be next to useless. Alex Thompson, Channel 4 News, Vitez.